Okay, kneading or wedging. Now I've got about a kilo of clay here. You'll probably want a bit less than that to start with, maybe 750 grams, something like that. I'm using a bit more just so you can see the demo a bit easier. This is actually porcelain clay. You probably want to use a non-gritty clay, non-groggy. Porcelain is a nice clay to work with, it's beautiful, but it's not easily for beginners to use. I'm only using this at the moment because it's in the middle of a pandemic and we can't get hold of anything else. Okay, so you use the areas just below your thumbs on your hands to actually wedge it. You take the clay and you push down like that with those points, and then you roll the clay back up. So that's the process down like that. Yeah, like that. Now, when I first started doing this, I ended up with a big long sausage. So what you've got to remember is actually to keep your hands on the sides of this as you go. And you go around. And the clay itself should be the sort of consistency of I'd say plasticine or Play-Doh, I would more like. If it's too wet, what will happen is it will actually stick to the wedging table, and you'll find if it's too dry, it'll crack, and you'll introduce more air in. In fact, the first few times that you do this, you probably will introduce more air than when you started. But practice makes perfect. And this is actually called ram's head wedging, and the reason behind that is because it's supposed to end up with something a bit like a ram's head, so you've got the two horns and the nose there. Now once you've got to a point where you think you've done reasonably well and you've got all the air and lumps out of it, it's probably a good idea just to cut the clay in two, just to check. And what you're after is this sort of look. You don't want any of that where you've got little air pockets in it. If you have air pockets in it, you're going to have difficulty when you come to throw it. When you put these bits of clay back together again, don't be tempted to push it back together again like that, because you'll tend to trap air in the middle. It's best to go on the rounded bits, and then you just squash it down and start again. Just keep going round. You can change direction just to make sure you get all that air out. It is quite good exercise too. In the middle of this lockdown, all I've got to do is knead clay all day. Okay, when you get to a point where you think, yep, that seems pretty good, you just want to sort of form it into a sort of ball. I actually like to try and keep the direction of the wedging consistent when I put it on the wheel. The clay is made up of platelets, and if you can get them to go around to start with, I think personally I think that's an advantage when you come to throw it. The other thing you want to try and avoid is plonking it down and getting a flat on the bottom of it. If you put that down on the wheel, you can have little dinks in it, and that'll trap air, and you'll find it won't stick to the wheel too well, and when you come to actually throw the thing, you'll have other problems if you get air underneath the base of the clay. So try and make sure it's got a nice sort of curve to it, and then you can just leave it like that and you can put it straight onto the wheel.